Well, hello everyone. I thought it may be a good time to show my face here on my YouTube channel, Yarn Creations. And I thought today would be a good opportunity because later today at 5 o'clock South African Standard Time, I'm having a live chat with Leanie from Independence Crochet and Mariette from Die Boervrou. I will try and link the channels below, but this episode will be uploaded definitely after the chat. That's Sunday, today's Sunday, so this afternoon at 5 o'clock is the chat, and after that, tonight or tomorrow, I will upload this episode. Yes, I'm still alive. In December, I had a big birthday, and it seems that my confidence just flew out of the window. So, yes, I think as you reach a certain age, some things does get more difficult and not easier. I'm sure some of you will be able to relate with me. Although I do feel the pressure from some of my friends to keep on podcasting. It's something I'm always thinking about and something I really want to do, but it's just that something is missing. I'm not sure what it is. But I try to, when I'm busy with a certain project that I feel that I'm learning a lot from that project, and I feel that maybe someday you would like to refer back to what I've learned and my journey throughout that project. I try to make a video of that I do upload on my channel. If you don't know me by now, I'm Adela, and my Facebook page is Yarn Creations, and on Instagram I'm Adela_Yarn Creations. I'm very active on Instagram, where I post progress, lots of progress pictures. On Facebook I try to not over do too much progress pics, but when I do finish something, I try to give quite a few pictures and some detailed info if there is anything I want to add to or changes I made to the pattern. Then I will rather put that on my Facebook page. So I was just thinking while I was taking out some of my scrappy projects, because the chat this afternoon with Mariette and Leanie will be all about scrappy projects. So while I was taking out some projects, I realized that time is a problem, because we are always having the issue of load shedding. That can happen at any time, and they can change it at any time, and I know that it might be a problem later on. So I know that there might not be enough time for me to chat about everything. So the projects I'm busy with at the moment, I think I'm going to leave that aside for the chat this afternoon. And then the other projects I took out, I might quickly refer to them or quickly show them, but I know there won't be time to talk in more detail about those projects that I have done in the past. I love scrappy projects. I love to use up every little nugget of my yarn. That's just how I am. I love those little nuggets. I love rolling my leftover yarns in those little nuggets, and I love using them in projects, and that the satisfaction I get from using every little bit, every last bit is just, I don't know, it's just for me part of my whole journey with yarn. So if you don't know my channel, it's all about yarn craft, knitting, crochet, weaving mostly. So that is my passion, and that is what I always talk about. And I think people sometimes get tired of me talking about it, but that's just my life at this stage. So let's just quickly talk about what I'm wearing. This is Stripes by Andrea Mowry, and I thought I would wear this today because it's such a good example of what you can do with leftover yarns or partial skeins of yarns. You don't have to use a specific number of colors. You can really use lots of colors. You can make every stripe another color. And I really think I'm thinking anxiously of starting another stripes with leftover yarns, or maybe I've still got an Advent from 2019, Miss Lamotte Advent, and I'm thinking that that might be a good project for that yarns. So what I really would like to do is participate in Christmas in July. So from the 1st of July up to 24th, 25th, or until the end of July. I know Kay and Dan from the Bakery Bears are going to have a knit along or make along for Christmas in July. I think there is other people that will also have that. And because Christmas or December for us in South Africa is summer, we don't have the cold temperatures always related to Advent knitting and that kind of stuff. So I think for us in South Africa, a Christmas in July would be just marvelous. I haven't done that yet. I do try to do an Advent project in December, starting from the 1st of this December. Last December I did a summer tea that I enjoyed very much, that I wore a lot in the summer. And I've done wrist warmers. It was a pattern from Kay Jones, her Advent knit along, but hers was actually for socks, but I changed them into wrist warmers. So every second day, I think she gave a part of the pattern, and I put one in the one mitten and the other in the other wrist warmer. Unfortunately, I don't have them with me at the moment, but that's also a very good idea for a scrappy project, is wrist warmers. Kay Jones has a free pattern for wrist sticklers that you can go and look at, and that's perfect for knitting for a scrappy project or an Advent project. So yes, let's do Christmas in July, and please join me in that. I'm still thinking and dreaming about that. I've still got a month to plan what I'm actually going to do, but I'm definitely going to do something to have that wintry Christmas feeling. So let me quickly talk about other projects that I've done in the past, scrappy projects. So the one topic is, of course, cushions. So I will maybe, if I have time, show them in the Scrappy Chat as well. one cushion I did that I have shown on my one of my episodes. I'm sure I have. I'm not sure if I showed the finished one. Is a corner, this corner to corner cushion cover. It is done out of 3 strands of merino lace singles, and I did uh, moss stitch. I think, yeah, linen stitch is the other name for that. So you start at one corner and then it grows until you have it's big enough, and then you decrease up to the other corner. So that is what I did. I just took the 4 corners and brought them together up to here, and then I just stitched the seams together, and put a nice button on there, nice wooden button. And it's actually a button on the other side as well. So what I did is I hold this button here, and I've thread the needle right through the inner stuffing and join the 2 buttons together, so that I like the effect of the cushion going in a little bit, as you can see there. Nice bright colors, really anything I had. And as the one color was done, I just added one and just kept on doing, increasing and doing the linen stitch. And as one was done with, I just added another color. So I never changed more than one color at one stage of the 3 yarns. So I held 3 yarns together for this. And I think it's just the perfect way. When I started it, I thought of making a blanket, but I realized that I don't have enough of the scrappy stash I had. So I decided to make it into a cushion cover, and I will really do this again. I really enjoy doing something like this. And I love the effect of the marling, and I love the effect of all the colors coming together on this side. So that is the one cushion. And then the other one I think I have shown you is just small little hexies. And I think on my Facebook page I did give the recipe. It's only 3 rounds, and joined as you go in the 3rd round. So I also use, this is all DK from lots of different indie dyers and lots of colors. No particular order, no color palette, just everything I had. I wanted to, and once again, I think when I started this, I was thinking of a blanket, but realized that this is actually quite big. You don't realize how much yarn you will use for a cushion like this. But it did take up almost all the scraps I had. And on the I just joined it's a Mr. Price cushion that already has a cover. They are very affordable, and I just joined those little corners together. And on this side I joined it with a yarn, and I just tied the yarn together so that if I feel that I want to wash this, I can just undo this join here, take it off, wash it, and then just tie it together again. So that is also a project I enjoyed very much, and I will definitely do it again. So it's just join as you go when you are busy with the 3rd round. And really all the colors that you can think of. That's the 2nd one. And then the 3rd one I did this is quite a big one. The others are, I think, 50 by 50. This is a 60 by 60. In this one, I also had leftover yarns and scraps. Some of them were scraps, some of them were quite, um, quite almost a full um, ball of yarn. And I just did some circles and then turned it into a hexagon. There's so many patterns for that circle in a hexagon. If you Google that, you will find many of them. And I do love the PLT join from Rochelle from Cypress Textiles. In this, for this, I did the PLT join in every stitch. So PLT stands for pull loop through. So you have to take your needle out and then pull your loop through. Put your needle in from the top and pull the loop through from underneath every time. So it's a little slower, but the effect is, I do love the effect. So this is actually also, circles is, I love a circle. I love to crochet a circle. It feels to me like I'm going into some kind of zen and meditation when I do that. So I maintain the effect of 2 rounds of one color and 2 rounds of the other color. And this is also, I think, joined on the one side. It's also one of Mr. Price's cushions. And on the other side, I added buttons so that it can easily be removed and washed. So this was all done out of Katia Basic Merino. I think it's a 50% merino and 50% acrylic yarn. A very nice yarn to work with, quite affordable in my opinion, and it's lovely to crochet with. So that is the third cushion. And then the other thing that, as I mentioned, I love crocheting a corner to corner, because you can start with your tiniest scraps of yarn and sort them from the tiniest little bit, getting bigger to bigger bits, and because your blanket will, or the cushion, or the whatever you are crocheting, are growing with increases on both sides. For that as well, there's so many patterns out there. If you just Google corner to corner linen stitch, you will find tutorials, corner to corner granny stitch or granny blanket, and it's lovely. I just love doing patterns like that. So for example, this is a, I think I have shown you this. This is a corner to corner blanket I did with scraps. It's a very nice lap size. I don't really do very big blankets anymore because I find that they don't get used. But a lap blanket is something that you can just throw over the couch, and when you sit in the evenings and crochet or knit and you're cold, you can throw it over your legs. That's a perfect size for me, and it's a perfect size so that you can have the opportunity to use all your little scraps, but it's not so big that you run out of scraps. So this is also started from a corner, and then it grows and grows, and then you can make it into a rectangle. That's what I did here. So when you think it's wide enough, you will keep your the amount of stitches that you have, and you will decrease on the one side and increase on the other side. And then when it's long enough, you will decrease on both sides till you have reached the other corner. And I just did a plain border. I love very plain borders nowadays. I think I took a full skein of yarn to do the border so that I don't run out of yarn. And I think I just did single crochets and half double crochets. I might have done this or talk more about this in one of my previous episodes. So it's a very, very plain border. I do prefer a darker color for a border. I feel that it frames your work, and if you use a color that is in your blanket, like the greens is in the blanket, then it is as if everything comes together and is framed nicely. And but for this, I really a lot of people said, "Oh, beautiful colors," but I really used everything I had. I decided I want to use it all. I don't want to be left with some scraps. So I really used all the scraps I had. And of course, the bigger your blanket gets, you might have to use partial skeins. I also find that the linen stitch is perfect for variegated yarns. Um, it does it works well for variegated yarns. And this was all 2-ply merino, super twist merino, and the feeling is, once again, I just love the feeling of this blanket. It's not heavy, it's not thick, it's just perfect for our climate, I think. I love working with a 2-ply super twist. If you are a long time viewer, you might realize that. This is done in a DK. I think this is all one of a kind yarns. The one thing that I think I must make clear is I've been buying merino yarns for many, many years. I think it might be close to 10 years now or longer that I've been buying um, hand-dyed yarns. And the first person that I did buy hand-dyed yarns from was Marlene from One of a Kind Yarns. And of course, the merino was much more affordable then. I've still got stash that I bought 8, 9 years ago from her. So all waiting to, and when I feel a blanket like this one, it's a 4-ply DK. It's a DK yarn. When I feel this, I want to go to my stash and immediately start another blanket because it's so lovely to work with. So this is corner to corner, smaller squares of corner to corner, the same corner to corner recipe, but in smaller squares. I did this a few years ago. And then I just joined them. I crocheted around each one of them. I crocheted a round of single crochet, and then I think I slip stitched them together at the back. Yeah, so that's quite a neat join. And then once again, a very, very plain border around the whole blanket. Now this I definitely have shown this in previous episodes. So it's 9 by 9 squares, and the thing about 4-ply or double knit or worsted merino is that if you make a very big blanket, it will be quite heavy. So I find that making a lap size blanket is actually a good size, so that it's not that heavy, but it's still a usable blanket. So that's also a corner to corner topic. And then another corner to corner one, also crochet, is a corner to corner granny clusters. So I started this side also with 2-ply super twist merino, little bits I had, And yes, all the colors I had from various different indie dyers, knitting fibers, one of a kind yarns. I really can't even remember all of them. And then just get it. So this is a square. I just kept on doing one row stripes, and then my yarns were mostly done. And for the other half, I took a one-of-a-kind yarns I had in this lovely, like a brownish charcoal color, and I alternated that with quite a wild variegated one. So I did 3 stripes of the dark charcoal and 1 stripe of the quite wild variegated. Just it's see through, so you can't see it, but you can see it better when I hold it double. And then I realized this yarn is not going to make it till the end of the blanket. So I went back to my stash and I had to take quite a nice skein I actually was keeping for something else, and I melted it in a little bit, and I had to finish the corner with this skein. That was not really planned, but I realized that the other ones are not going to be enough. So this is really um, also to show you that plans don't always work out as you think they will. And because I had the idea of the one half being the only the stripes of the scraps, and then the other half just in this charcoal color, and then I realized it's not nearly going to be enough, so I added that, and then I had to add another one. So this is really a scrappy blanket, but also a very nice lap size, and just a very, very plain border of, I think I did half double crochet. And what I sometimes like to do is do a half double crochet, turn my work, and then slip stitch back. So it's a very nice edging that looks very nice on both sides, but very plain. Yeah, so that's also corner to corner, but in granny stitch, granny cluster stitch. And then another corner to corner that I also did many years ago is knitted. Can you believe it? So this is just a corner to corner garter stitch blanket. This is quite big. It's also all double knit scraps, and I must say that my hands got a little bit tired. If I ever want to do something like this, I will rather knit smaller squares and join them together, because knitting a double knit blanket, to knit on a double knit blanket that gets bigger and bigger and heavier, is not so comfortable for my hands. In the crochet, I don't feel it that much. But I think because you hold the knitting on your needles all the time, it can be a little bit of a strain on your hands. But I did enjoy knitting this very much. It's also every color that I had left. So you start at a corner and you just increase, and then when it's big enough, you can also do the same. To make it rectangle is to increase on the one side and decrease on the other side, and then when you want to end it, you can, when it's long enough, you can just decrease on both sides. And there is lots of patterns for that. I know Stephen West has a pattern for just stripes of garter goodness, I think it's called. But if you Google corner to corner knitting or corner to corner garter, I know there's lots of patterns for something similar like that. If you don't find something, I will help you search. But Google is one of your best friends. Google and YouTube, that's my best friends regarding my knitting and my crochet and my yarn crafts. So this is quite big. And for this, I did magic knot. Sometimes I do, and sometimes I feel I'm too scared. In crochet, it's easy because you can just crochet over your ends as you go. I always do that. I never have millions and millions of ends that I have to darn in afterwards. I crochet over my ends, especially if it's a dense fabric. For this, I use the magic knot, and it seems okay. I don't see that any of them are coming undone. Yeah, this is very nice. And I think why a lot of people that are mostly knitters like the linen stitch or the moss stitch in crochet is because they are very similar. They do look, a linen stitch or moss stitch in crochet looks quite similar to knit. And I think that's why people that prefer knitting um, will probably like to do linen stitch, because it's a short stitch and it's a thinner fabric, a dense thinner fabric. Okay, so that's, I think, everything I've done with corner to corner. So if this is my scrappy blankets, you can just imagine how many blankets I have made throughout my life. Another scrappy project that I enjoyed very much and that I would really like to start again is, I call this my 1 row a day blanket. I think I cast it on 200 stitches, so it's quite wide. And I just did half double crochet. I used lots of yarns in here, cotton. I throughout created a double knit fabric, double knit fabric. So if I used lighter weight or thinner weight yarns, I held two strands together to make a double knit. And sometimes I used only a double knit. So the cotton that was a double knit, that was my base. And then sometimes I used thinner yarns and I held it together with something else. But this is mostly cotton and cotton bamboo mix and a little bit of wool. And as you can see, you can clearly see that there was a few rows in a color, and then I alternated. Oh, you know, I remember now, because I did this quite a few years back. I worked with three colors at any stage. I had 3 colors. So I did 1 row in the 1 color, and then when I was at that side, I changed it for the ball of yarn that was on that side. And then I crocheted back, and then I changed it with the ball of yarn that was on that side. So that works very well to have 3 balls if you want to do 1 row in a color. So there's a little bit of a color palette, but I worked throughout with 3 balls of yarn. So you can see some of them are close, some of them are a bit different. You can see that there you can see where I started a new one. So I would crochet till the 1 ball was done, and then I will just replace it with another one, and then use those 3, and then when another one was finished, I will replace that with another one. And I did that throughout the blanket. So I was always working with 3 colors that I alternated every row. And that works very well because if you want to do only one row of a color, and if you work with quite variegated yarns, like this is quite variegated, um, that works well to have 3, one on this side, one on the other side, and the one, so on each side you have one waiting for you. And to alternate that in variegated yarns works well because then you don't get blotches of color or any pooling. And of course the cotton and bamboo also makes a lovely fabric, and with the half double crochet it's reversible, so there's no front and back. Because I find sometimes if you gift a crochet blanket, they don't really understand that crochet sometimes have a front and a back. So if you use half double crochet, you don't have to worry about that. Was I went to my sister-in-law's house at one stage, and she's very knit worthy and she has a lot of my stuff, and I looked on something that she had on one of her tables, and I said very diplomatically, can I just show you which is the right side of this crochet item? Because yeah, that's something that will bother me if I know it's always the right side is always down and the wrong side is showing all the time. I think it will keep me awake at night. So I just had to show her that sometimes crochet has a wrong side and a right side. And then of course a very plain border once again. But this is a lovely project. This a 1 row a day blanket is also something that it's like a zen, like a meditative, and you know, each day you can do just 1 row. And even if it takes you a year, I think this took me 6 months. It's fine. You are enjoying it, and it's growing, and it's something that keeps you, like I can always say, keeps you grounded. So that is, and I'm sure I've talked a lot about this in some of my previous episodes when I was busy doing this. But lovely fabric, mostly one-of-a-kind yarns. I think this is almost all one-of-a-kind yarns. There's one that's got a little bit of stellina in it. One of her yarns, I think it's called, no, Oeuvre, I think, is the name of the yarn that she sold at some stage, and it's got a little bit of stellina in it. I'm not sure if you will be able to see it, but you can see the colors much better if I show this up close. As I say, lots of colors, and when you are doing 1 row, 3 colors, one row of each, you can incorporate, you can actually melt different colors, because you are doing one in the green and then you're coming back to these colors, so you're actually incorporating, so you can melt your colors, so that there's no solid stripes. Half double crochet and linen stitch, I think, is my 2 most favorite crochet stitches to use. This also can appeal to knitters, I think, because it's also very solid. I like solid fabric in crochet. And then the other thing I quickly wanted to talk about, that's why I thought that I will not be able to say everything I want to say about scrappy projects in the chat with Leanie and Mariette, because there's just too much to say about scrappy projects. A few years, I've quickly gone and looked, I think it was in 2018. I loved crocheting in the round. I loved crocheting mandala kind of items, going in the round. I just loved doing that. And then when I started knitting so much, I moved away a little bit from that, but it's something that I still like the look of very much. And I started with crocheting a mandala. I knew I wanted it to be big. I knew that I wanted, I think my very, very first episode, you can go back to my very, so that's a good, um, uh, and I say inclination of when I started is in 2018 with this channel is, I think I was just busy, I just started this mandala when I started to making episodes on and off through the years. I had some Rayesa cotton, the DK one. I knew they changed it. This was actually, I think, a heavier weight than a DK. I think it was almost a worsted, and I had quite a lot of it, quite a big stash of that Rayesa, and I wanted to make something with it, and I wanted to crochet in the round, and I thought, okay, I will challenge myself to do 100 rounds. And I decided to share my recipe every week. So on my Facebook page, you will find an album under my photos for um, my mandala 2018, I think, or I could have changed it to Yarn Creations. Um, I'm not sure, no. But I will try and put all the info. If I don't give links, I will put all the info in the description box below. Um, just quickly have a look. Yeah, it was, there's a hashtag on Instagram, My Mandala 2018. And quite a few people added their projects there. As I added the rounds each week, I think in total, okay, it was 100 rounds, and in total um, there was 14 parts. So it must have been 14 weeks. I knew that some people did one round a day, so they called it the 100-day mandala. It's very, very simple. So I did upload each week's section. I added it to A4 format. I think I got 6 on one page, and I um, tried to, yeah, I saved it as a PDF and I uploaded onto Ravelry as the, I will also have this. This was a very impromptu decision. I think it can be YarnCreations Mandala. Yeah, I could have called it the YarnCreations Mandala. That might be possible. And there you can also see a lot of my info, my pictures, few videos I did make on one or two of the stitches, but all very, very simple stitches. And yeah, so I will add those two hashtags in the description box. But this is the first one I made with the Rayesa cotton. It's quite big. It's a, if it's a, it can be a rug, and it's quite a big rug. I loved doing this. I really, really loved doing this. I know that some people did it with the t-shirt yarn, and they made beautiful rugs with this pattern. I'm not sure if, because it can, if you do it with t-shirt yarn, it can be quite big if you do all 100 rounds. But if you do 100 rounds, it will be really a big rug. And because the stitches are so simple, um, it's mostly single crochet and half double crochet, not a lot of uh, double crochets, or that's US terms now, and not a lot of intricate stitches that can complicate the for the mandala to lie flat, because you can have problems with that. So I suggest using one one weight of yarn throughout. If you don't have the experience of how to work with different weights, one crochet hook size and one weight of yarn, and then it should lie flat. What I did throughout is, before you panic if you see that it may be wobbling a little bit, is to steam it a little bit and lie it flat to dry, and then see what happens with it. So it is on Ravelry, but as I say, it's just a recipe. It looks like this. So it's three pages, and it's really just, say, it says first round 14 single crochet, second round 2 single crochet in each stitch. So you have to have crochet experience and to know how you prefer to join your rounds and that kind of thing. Um, some people did have an issue maybe with it wobbling a little bit, and then I would just suggest that they do 1 or 2 or 3 rounds of linen stitch, because linen stitch will always draw something in. So single crochet, chain 1, skip 1, single crochet, chain 1, skip 1, and that will usually flatten it out, even if you do 1 round or 2 rounds and then continue with that. But as I say, I did this, and it's really very flat. There's no issues with it. I did make one that I gifted, and then I did this one with also the 4-ply worsted yarn, double knit light worsted yarn from One of a Kind Yarns. I did a smaller one, and this one is permanently on my dining table as a centerpiece, because this is the colors that suit match everything in my house. So I stopped this one earlier. I stopped it earlier, and I think I did give the instructions on Instagram. If you look under those hashtags, you will find all of it, how I just did a simple edging around, but you can do any edging that you prefer. And this is also very flat. There's nothing wobbling, because I use the same weight yarn throughout, and I think with a 4mm. So I was thinking, I'm really, when I took out all of these, the mandalas and things, I was really tempted, because I do have a lot of this merino still, or any DK that you have. You don't have to make it too wild. You can keep it in a simple color palette if you want to. Um, what I also find is, if you have a wild variegated yarn, use that for the linen stitch parts, like where I say single crochet, chain 2, skip 1, single crochet. You can really use that variegated yarns in those rounds. I changed rounds, I think, not every round, most of the times, but sometimes I did 2 rounds in one color or 3 rounds in one color. But a variegated yarn works well if you use it only in one round, and with a short stitch, like a single crochet or a linen stitch. In a variegated, yeah, it goes well in there. So I was so tempted when I took this out to show you, to start one. And I think I will also do 1 round a day, and see if I can, 100 days, so June, July and August. So at the end of August, it can be done, or maybe my yarns won't last that long, the stash yarns I have, and then I will stop earlier. But I'm going to challenge myself and see if I can do one with 100 rounds. And I just took out some little nuggets of this. They are all one-of-a-kind yarns, the 4-ply DK light worsted scraps I have. And I did the first 2 rounds. So I really think I really want to do this, and I would love for anybody that wants to join me. It's in the scrappy mode, and it's a stash buster, and it's just something zen. Crocheting in the round, a mandala style item in the round is so zen and so calming. You will really find it. Just make it your early morning me time, zen time, and just crochet 1 or 2 rounds. You can even do 2 rounds a day in the beginning, because it is very quick, and then later on the rounds they take quite a while later on to do. So even if you then do only half a round a day, that's also fine, just to calm down for the day and relax a little bit. You will find it's really good for that. I find it very good. So I would love anybody that wants to join me in doing this. Just one tip is, if you do the 14 crochets in the beginning, don't pull that magic loop too tight, because then your mandala will wobble, it won't lie flat. So leave the hole. You can always pull it tighter later on, but for the start, don't, because you are tempted to, I do the same, I'm tempted to pull them quite tight, and it doesn't work if you've got quite a lot of stitches in there. So this is 14 single crochets that I started with, and then 2 single crochets in each of those, so 28. So that's what I have. And that is actually the little piece of yarn. There was, I think I've cut off a piece like this. So this is what the little nugget of yarn I had was perfect for these first 2 rounds. And you can even keep on with the next round, and when your yarn is done, connect it with your next one. If there's a change in a round of color, that's also fine. Try it. It's so satisfying. For me it is in any way. And I'm using again my 4mm tulip, favorite tulip crochet hooks, 4mm, and this is a double knit. Yeah, double knit works well for this. If you want something that's going to be quite a nice size, I will suggest a double knit yarn. So I think that's about it for what I wanted to say about scrappy projects. And maybe I think why I did this is because I had to get everything set up in any way for Leanie and Mariette. And I think that motivated me, and maybe I should thank Leanie and Mariette for letting me do this, and got me, maybe they got me going again. Let's hope. I won't promise anything, it's ups and downs, and I've made episodes that I never uploaded, that I just deleted from my phone. I am recording with my phone, and I don't do any editing afterwards. I just upload it. So that's me. Because I think I'm a bit all the intricate technical stuff. The cushions that you see at the back is woven with the same yarn as this. I wove 2 cushions with the same yarn, also a very nice scrappy project, and something I would like to do again. I think I did show them on one of my previous episodes. I did mention Mariette from Boervrou. I will put all their info in the description box. And Leanie, and thank you for both of you for always promoting my page and my work. And then I also want to thank Yaleen from the Lekker podcast. Go watch her if you haven't already. So she's so enthusiastic, and they are all very enthusiastic for um, mentioning me quite often. And Lisa from Die Wolblom, thank you as well for mentioning me. I do appreciate it. If you don't watch Lisa, you just have to. You're missing out on lots of beautiful stuff as well. And then I just want to think if there's anyone else that I want to mention now. So that's all South African podcasters. Oh yes, and also OM Granny Square. She recently found me on YouTube. I think it must have been through Yaleen or maybe Mariette or Leanie. Thank you for whoever she used to find me. And so she's OM Granny Square, and her name is Ursula, and I will also put her name. So if I don't put all the links, it's just because I'm lazy. And I'll put the names so that you can just go and search, and then you will find them easily. And because that is one thing I'm good with, is searching and Googling and finding stuff. So I would encourage you to also become good in that, because it's a very good tool to have in your craft toolbox, is how to Google and search for things. Because everything I know, I learned through Googling and on YouTube. Everything I know. Thank you so much for watching. I really do appreciate all of you and all the love. And yes, let's hope that I will be able to do this more often from now on. Again, I will try, and if I don't, I will do some more detailed videos of a project I'm busy with, and then try and come back as often as I feel that I've got the confidence for. Have a good week, everyone, and thank you so much for watching. Goodbye.